All right, Jonnu, it is year number 8 for you, week
sir.
number 12. I just want to know off the top, how you feeling, man?
I'm feeling great, man. I'm feeling great. Just excited to get back to work tomorrow and continue to try to, stack some more wins.
Did you know that your game on Sunday was the first game since the merger in 1970, which is 54 years ago, that a Dolphins tight end had 100 yards receiving and 2 touchdowns in a single game?
Yeah, man. It's cool stat to have. You know what I mean? As players and competitors, we just out there trying to just let all the work that we put in show, and obviously our God-given abilities. And the stat sheet just speaks for itself. But try not to get too caught up in stats. I found out that stat after the game. It was a cool stat to have, and it's like I said, man, it's pretty dope to be. What was that? The year you say that was?
1970.
1970. Yeah.
It's been a minute.
Been a while. I wasn't even thought of. So
Yeah, I don't think anyone in this room was thought of at that
Yeah,
point.
yeah.
It's been a long time, 54 years, like I said. So,
Yeah.
I want to kind of go into the anatomy of a big game like that because I'm curious what it looks like heading into the week. Like, do you know you're a big part of the game plan going into that game? Was it something where they were showing you something early on that provided an opportunity for you to make all those plays? Like, how does
Right.
that come to fruition?
Man, that's just the thing about the NFL, man. Like, every week, man, it could be your week. You know what I mean? It could look like it's your week, and it cannot be your week. You know what I mean? And regardless of what the game plan may look like, you prepare as if it's going to be your week. You know what I mean? And do everything you can in your power to help your team get a win. So that's just it could listen again. You can come in on Wednesday and see that game plan, and you're like, oh yeah, somebody needs to draft me in my fantasy team. You know what I mean? But sometimes it doesn't go that way. It may be the defense game plan really well against you. Coverages took the quarterback a different direction. You know what I mean? Just a lot of different things could not go your way, and you just got to stay even killed, not get frustrated, because there's some weeks where you like, okay, like I know, this may not be a big stat week for me, but I'm going to do everything I can in my power to help us get a win. And that's just kind of the mindset that I have.
If you can't tell by now, that's Dolphins tight end Jonnu Smith here listening to the Baptist Health Studios on Dolphins HQ and the Draft Time podcast. The full interview on the podcast on Friday. Of course, talking to you now for Dolphins HQ. And, that last touchdown you scored in the game, or actually, let's go back real quick because I wanted to talk about the celebration. I can't remember if it was your first or your second touchdown in the game. Like, everybody came over to you, and Reek was he was fired up about it. And I love to watch the film after big plays and how guys celebrate their teammates because, to your point, like in the past here, it's been 2 guys that got most of the footballs, Reek and Waddle.
Mm-hmm.
But this year, you guys have done a really good job spreading the ball around, and those guys seem to be as invested as ever. I'm just curious what the mindset is across the eligibles, all the skill players, as you guys have so many mouths to feed. Obviously, like you talk about, it's not going to always be your week, but what's the mindset of those guys when they just come to work every single week, no matter what their catches and yards looks like?
It's definitely an element of selflessness. You know what I mean? That's why those guys are who they are. You know what I mean? And the players that they are, just because they play the game the right way. It may not be your week every week, and there's so many guys on the offensive side of the ball that can make plays with the ball in their hands. And the stat line can be filled up by like 6 different guys. Every week. You know what I mean? In the NFL, that's rare. You know what I mean? You don't have that a lot. So we got so many guys, man, that we can get the ball to. And like I said, it's just an element of selflessness from those guys and them just, being team players and they are who they are. You know what I mean? Trust me. They, they going to get theirs, week in and week out. So I'm just excited to be a part of this offense, man, with so many great, talented players.
Yeah, it's been fun to watch the evolution of getting more guys involved that way. And I want to talk about your second touchdown because, first of all, you pulled away from a safety, by the way. I don't know if you knew that. That's some pretty good speed in the open field there. But you were so open. At what point in that play did you know, I'm going to score if I get this football?
Yeah.
And then, was it kind of like, this feels like high school again, where there's no one within 20 yards?
Yeah. Just taking advantage of the defense mistakes, and obviously blown coverage. Seeing the Red Seas part, they tried to go zero. Man, I saw nobody in the middle of the field, but sometimes guys just get lost, and I freed up and just playing backyard football and just put my hand up, just making sure me and Tua connected eyes, and we did, and hit me, gave me a good ball. Felt like that ball was in the air for
Right.
for about 100 years, man. But just made the play and finished it. So it was definitely a big moment in the game for us as a team, and to go up 2 possessions. So we got it done.
Let's go back to your first touchdown now, because what a divine moment that was when you throw the ball into the air blindly, right? You just kind of chucked it.
I'm real.
And it lands with your son?
My oldest son.
How?
My phone has been going off like crazy for the past, 24 hours. You know what I mean? It's something that, the human brain can't explain. Obviously, that was divine. That was 100% God's timing. A lot of emotion. Just chucked the ball up, and at the time I didn't know that my family was sitting in that section. I didn't know. I think it was till later on in the game where I seen them and they waved, and obviously didn't even know that the ball landed near them. But at the time when I threw the ball up, man, I just had an out-of-body experience, and definitely God's timing.
Is the ball on a shelf somewhere?
Oh yeah, that thing would get put in the glass casing where it won't be touched. You know what I mean? It'd be up high. That was a special moment. It probably had a picture of my son holding the ball.
Really
you know
cool.
what I mean?
Awesome
So
moment,
yeah, it was an unreal moment.
That's
man.
really good.
Still can't believe it.
I know. It's like you said, divine intervention in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
And it's gone viral across social. People are talking about it. It's been really fun to watch the last few weeks, especially with the return of Tua Tagovailoa at quarterback. And I've seen you go do a couple interviews and talk about him and how much he means to this team. But I guess I want to find something that maybe we haven't heard about Tua. If you have something like that, like what's it like with him in the huddle? And I guess his command of the huddle here in his fifth year. Like we know it's his team. He's the leader of the football team. But your first year working with Tua, what's he been like just in his leadership in the locker room, in the huddle? What's that like being around Tua?
Just amazed with his poise, man. Just no matter what point in time in the game that it is, he's a guy that like you're not going to feel stressed out in that huddle. It could be the biggest moment, third and whatever game. We need this. Got to have it. Whatever situation, fourth and whatever. You know what I mean? He's smiling. He's making sure guys are ready to go where they need to be. That's his style of leader. You know what I mean? And guys gravitate towards it, and we rallying behind him. So just excited to see where he's going. Like he's still considered a young player in this league, man. That's what blows my mind. So he's got so much of a bright future ahead of him. Excited to be here with him, you know what I mean, and to watch him develop as he goes. Yeah,
26 years old, and watching him on tape, it's like the answers to all the things the defense is doing right now. It's really fun to watch as a fan and as an analyst. Well, it's been a lot of fun to watch you play so far, man. Jonnu Smith, Dolphins tight end. We appreciate you.
Yes, sir.
Dolphins HQ. Look out for him on Sunday. Another big game coming, I think. The 2024 series with the Patriots wraps up on Sunday as the Dolphins are searching for their fourth straight win over New England. And Tua Tagovailoa looks to remain undefeated against this division rival and improved to 8-0 all-time against the Patriots. The Dolphins won the first meeting back in Week 5, but this game will feature two different quarterbacks with the return of red-hot Tua to the lineup and the emergence of rookie signal caller for the Patriots in Drake May. It's a battle of efficiency, as Tua has guided the Fins to a league-best 60% scoring rate since his Week 8 return and the second-best points per drive mark during that span at 3.17, just 1/100th of a point behind the Lions. And if that wasn't enough advanced metrics for you, the rookie up in Foxborough, well, he's been balling too. He's 13th in total QBR and 10th in completion percentage over expected. Put another way, he's having a very high-level rookie season with minimal college starts under his belt to boot. Miami could get a big momentum swing this week with the potential return of fullback Alec Ingold. The Dolphins averaged 5.3 yards per carry in the Week 5 game with him on the field, and he finished the game-winning drive with a touchdown carry of his own for 2 yards that proved to be the difference. Welcome back into the Baptist Hill Studios. My guest today for Patriots Week, once again, my buddy Taylor Kyles, a research savant and overall dapper gentleman. Taylor, what's up, dude? How you doing today, man?
Doing well. Always happy to be talking to you, brother. Thank you so much for having me on again.
A lot has changed since these teams played back in Week 5, Taylor, both starting different quarterbacks, and we've seen how things have changed here with Tua back in the fold. So I'll ask you the same question about Drake May. How has that offense, that team, changed with the insertion of May in the lineup?
I mean, it's a 180. Literally, you look at like pass protection. The offensive line with the Patriots is one of the biggest question marks, one of the biggest reasons a lot of people were so hesitant for Drake to even play, because obviously Jacoby Brissett was the guy for the first 5 weeks of the season. But Drake May, he is so far ahead when it comes to the mental side of the game. And I think coming out of college, I thought that was underrated, where I'm saying this 22-year-old kid is doing things you don't see from quarterbacks who are currently in the NFL, and he's only been a starter for 2 seasons. So his ability to negate pressure both was his athleticism. If you give him a big running lane, he's going to be able to exploit it and probably get a big chunk gain because he's got some speed, but also getting the ball out of his hands on time, understanding when he needs to throw it away versus, he did have a pretty bad interception a couple weeks ago where he tried to throw it away, ended up getting picked. But every week you do see the growth. So he's making the offensive line better. In terms of the passing game, unfortunately, he hasn't been able to connect deep in the last few weeks. He's been trying to hit Kayshon Boutte. Just not that kind of guy, obviously. Not really that big size kind of player. Really better one-on-one and in space, that kind of thing. But you still see the arm talent is fantastic. His ability to throw on the run has been really big for this team. And the creative ability. So, Jacoby Brissett was kind of a statue back there, limited in what he could do as a thrower. But Drake May has really opened up the offense and allowed Alex Van Pelt to do a little more in terms of RPOs, moving the pocket, and that kind of thing.
Yeah, you mentioned his ability to move, but also the offensive line performing better. Do you think that's part of a function of, because when they played back in week 5, the Dolphins got a lot of pressure on Jacoby Brissett. Do you think it's a function of those guys are playing better, or Drake May is a little bit more mobile, or a combination of both those things?
Definitely a combination. I put most of it towards Drake May. I will say that there's a new center now, Ben Brown. The last time these teams faced off, the center play wasn't very good. I think that was a pretty big reason why they struggled so much. But to be honest, it's been pretty up and down. Mike Nwanni's having a very down season. But Darian Lowe has been exceeding expectation, but even he's had his struggles as well. It's not a great line, but again, Drake May is making them look better for sure. But in terms of pass pro, passing things off, and run blocking, you do see some incremental growth, though they still have plenty more room to grow.
If you were coaching Drake May on Sunday, how would you tell him to approach this Anthony Weaver defense and how to attack what's been a pretty well-communicated, well-connected defense so far?
First thing is I want to stay away from the corners. Unless they give you some soft coverage and you're running a hitch with some, decent space and you're not really challenging them too much, I just don't think that's a great matchup. I have a lot of faith in Drake. I just don't know if Kendrick Bourne and Kayshon Boutte are really the caliber of player to truly challenge those guys consistently. So what I'm saying is it may not be easy, but try to attack those linebackers. Hopefully we see more of Antonio Gibson. His role has been kind of odd. We thought he was going to be their main receiving back. He's almost been splitting time a bit with Michael Hasty. But if you can get some one-on-one matchups there, like I said, Hunter Henry, Austin Hooper, specifically against more zone type coverages, I think you got to work the middle of the field. And Drake is going to be happy to do that. That's where he said, I'm a 6 foot something guy. I think he's like 6'5" or something like that. I can see over the offensive lineman. I like attack in the middle. I think that's really going to be the recipe of success. And also, hopefully, they mix in some RPOs to create some challenges for the Dolphins, because I think if you just try to line up and play ball, it's going to be a really long day in the office.
To my last question for you, Taylor, which is, how do the Patriots get down here and steal a win from a Dolphins team that's red hot, playing really good football, and kind of has their eyes on a larger prize? How do the Patriots come down here and spoil the Dolphins season?
Well, first of all, for the offense, they can't go backwards. That's been the biggest thing. Honestly, Alex Van Pelt caught a ton of flack for most of this season. People were saying he can't call plays, he can't design plays, when really he's dealing with a lack of talent and also a ton of inexperience on both the offensive line, quarterback, and at the wide receiver positions. But the past 2 games you've seen, because they've been able to run the ball somewhat, the playbook opens up and you see the play action, the RPOs, just being able to actually call more than just drop back passes, which really no offensive coordinator can live in that area. So I think the Patriots just need to stay on schedule, not to shoot themselves in the foot with penalties and things like that, and communicate along the offensive line. Those are going to be the big keys. And also not turning the ball over, which Drake May has done. Really, he's had like a couple turnover where he plays at least in almost every game. And then defensively, it's going to sound kind of like I'm phoning it in, but execution, really, because, against the Rams, there were so many issues with those receivers. People were saying, oh, why isn't Christian Gonzalez shadowing Puka Nacua, which I thought at the time. And looking back at the tape, I'm just like, it's execution. You're not passing off bunches well. You're not covering and playing to your leverage and things like that. And also disrupting the Dolphins so that, like we always see in these games, the Dolphins have a full playbook for the entire game. Very rarely are they behind. So I think if you can at least stop the run, that should really, really help the back end. For Patriots CLNS, at
@TKyles39 on social, you're the best. We'll see you on Sunday, dressed hopefully a little bit warmer this time around.
Yes, sir. I'm bringing a sweater. Thank you so much.
Appreciate you, buddy. It's time for a little peek behind the curtain here at HQ, because one of our main goals was to engage with the fan base by meeting you guys where you are. We know the video element is a real seller in today's content world, this ever-expanding reach of social media. So we thought, why not hear from the fans and we intend to do more of these. And here's how it goes. I put the call out for questions on social. You guys write back in. We pick 3 of those and talk about them here on the show, which we'll do right now. Sound good? Let's dive in. This first one here comes from Noel Boy. What's one area the defense and offense must improve upon in order to make a serious run towards the playoffs? And I wouldn't say they have to improve these things necessarily to make a run at the playoffs. I think that what they're playing right now, they could make the playoffs based upon their current performance. But if you want to look for 2 areas to really improve, I think on defense, the Dolphins could stand to get better in their 4-man pressure packages. They have such a good defensive structure when it comes to creating pressure from sim pressures and stunts and games, but to be able to close out games, sometimes you really need just a one-on-one pass rush win. And the good news is rookie Chop Robinson is heating up and getting better every single week that he plays in this league, and I think that he has a chance to really break out in the second half of the season. Offensively, I would say just finding the running game again, because this offense, the way it's going right now, 9 consecutive possessions with points, has been very productive, but during that span, they have not had the running game success. If they can find that run game success with the explosive options in the passing game and the short area passing attack, there's no way they can stop this offense in the entire NFL. Our second mailbag question here comes from Marcos Alviera. I hope I got that right, Marcos. He asks, since Tua returned from the injury reserve, the offense has become more disciplined, both in alignments and assignments. Is that all on Tua and the difference he makes on the details, or was it a point of emphasis by Mike McDaniel? Well, to borrow a Mike McDaniel-ism, as he always says, for a play to work offensively or defensively, you need the orchestration of 11 players working in unison and executing their jobs all at the same time. And so while having the return of your 5th-year quarterback who has 3 years experience in the offense, who's a veteran leader in his presence that he really provides in the huddle, the locker room, it certainly helps. No mistake about that. But for the entire offense to orchestrate the way it has, you have to have all 11 guys cranking and working together, and the coaching staff for that matter as well. So those guys' ability to put it on the practice field in their walkthroughs, to rep it in practice when they go full speed, to bring it to game day, that's a full team orchestration that has been a point of emphasis across the entire board, with Tua helping in that regard too. So it's the entire squad. Our third and final question here from Chris Larondo. Why does it seem to be a struggle to get Jalen Waddle involved? Would love to see some schemed throws to Jalen. Thoughts on that? Well, I actually have a video here for you. I'm going to go ahead and pull up and break down a play for you real quick, because I want to illustrate that Waddle is still Jalen Waddle. He's still a great receiver who gets open and has been a very valuable piece of this offense, even without the football in his hands. Let's go ahead and run this clip right here. This is a play from the first drive of the Raider game, and they're going to have, first of all, the Dolphins do so many cool formations. 2 stacks right here in condensed formations, and inside the numbers, you see the numbers in the field right here. You got all your eligibles are inside the numbers. But I want to go ahead and take a look at this kind of low to high read that Tua has on this play, where he can attack either Devon Achane in the flat or Jalen Waddle on this in cut that he runs in behind this pick behind Odell Beckham. So first off, you're going to watch this collision right here. So OBJ runs this kind of pick route or rub route that frees up Achane into the flat. And look at the access Achane has over here. I mean, that's called naked in the NFL. Wide open. There's nobody out there. Now, you look at Waddle right here on the dig, working in behind that as the Raiders are in the single high safety look. And let's go ahead and go back, actually, because you're going to see man coverage across the board. That's where you're going to get your rub routes to have success, is in man coverage. And the single high safety, he winds up cheating this way because guess who this is? That's Tyreek Hill, and you do not want to let Tyreek Hill have a free release against a single man coverage. So they're going to cheat that way, and it opens up this big vacancy in the field. And I want you to watch the way Waddle runs this route right here to create the space on this cornerback. He presses him, widens him out, gets him to take one step that way, and creates outside leverage to come across the face, and he's open. That's an open throw, but rather than taking that shot that could be broken up by the back end, maybe this linebacker sinks in and makes a heck of a play. It's not a sure thing for a guarantee, but you know what is a sure thing for a completion here? Is this throw to Devon Achane in the flat. So Waddle is still getting open. I just think the offense is doing a better job this year of taking shorter stuff and having high percentage throws that winds up creating a 17-yard play anyway because, well, Achane is very, very fast. So Waddle is still getting open. He's still competing. He's still playing a bunch of snaps, contributing in the passing game and the running game. He's open, but this offense just has more options, and that's a good thing. That wraps up another episode of Dolphins HQ here from the Baptist Health Studios. You guys know the drill by now. Be sure to check out the Draft Time podcast with yours truly 5 days a week and the Fish Tank podcast with Seth Levin and OJ McDuffie. Also, subscribe to the Dolphins YouTube channel for new episodes of Mic'd Up, Game Speed recaps, Coach McDaniel breakdowns, media availabilities, and much, much more. Enjoy an exciting Week 12 in the NFL season. We'll be back after the Thursday night matchup in Green Bay against the Packers on Thanksgiving night from Lambeau Field. Enjoy your holiday, and we'll see you soon.